we are sort of at the end of the weddings, but still have one more bonus wedding, I guess, that is going to be next week. But next week we will start the honeymoons, which will be a great change of pace because I'm always a fan of just getting past the wedding so we can see how these couples actually are together. Before we jump into our couples for this week, I probably won't be able to do a video next week, or if I do, it'll probably be a few days late. So don't get mad at me when there's not a video up next Wednesday. With that out of the way, let's get into our first couple, and of course it's going to be Krysten and Mitch. I feel like these two are going to be headliners. Well, I shouldn't say these two. Mitch is going to be a headliner pretty much for the duration of the season because yeah, he's an unmatchable. They made a spin-off show and it's the show he should have been on, and this is going to be such a nightmare. But anyways, we got more to talk about than just Mitch, starting off with the entire dad storyline for Krysten. It's been a total bait since the start of the season. We were getting set up, we were getting played, and of course, what is the punchline at the end? Of course he's going to walk her down the aisle. You could tell with the way that they had done all the editing and the dubbed in sound that it wasn't going to go down the way that they were leading us to believe. More deception, more fakery and tricks from the production crew, but all turns out well for Krysten in the end as her dad decides to walk her down the aisle. When she got the ring, somebody in production, they forgot to do that clunky dub in of the brand name for the rings that they've been like forcefully shoving down our throats all season long. So maybe they only had sponsorship for the last episode and not today, so we didn't get the forced James Allen on top of the ring being put on her finger. How about Mitch thinking that Krysten's mom was the bride? Old MILF hunter Mitch, he right from that moment had his sights set on one bride and one bride alone, but it wasn't his bride to be, it was his bride to be's mom. I love that moment when Krysten described herself as bougie. Wasn't even the friends and the family. She straight up just described herself as bougie, and just to like put the seal on this relationship for like how terrible it's going to be. Bougie is the exact opposite of what Mitch was looking for. So yeah, we're definitely ending in a divorce in 8 weeks for these two. That photographer seemed like my worst nightmare. Absolutely just yelling nonstop at everyone. They made it seem like the photos were absolutely endless. The photos are like my least favorite part of any wedding. You know, you go, you have this beautiful ceremony, and then all your friends and family who came, you tell them, okay, screw off. We're gonna go and spend the next 2 to 3 hours of our lives taking photos. Just stop. We need to stop this tradition as well. Like this one, not as bad as the bachelor and bachelorette party, but get actual photos of the wedding. You know, not just a bunch of staged stuff that anybody can do on their iPhone nowadays. You know, like actually get pictures of them saying their vows, them having their first dance, them sharing their first kiss. Get pictures of them cutting the cake, not just a series of staged awkward photos where you're like, oh no, raise your chin a little more to look as unnatural as possible. There we go, perfect. Say cheese. Absolutely hate them. There was even one from a different couple, Miguel, where it's his back. Like, that's not a memory. That's not a memory. But anyways, let's move on because we got to do some Mitch bashing, which we haven't even started yet. Mitch says he's not attracted to Krysten, but then like 5 minutes later, basically saying that he likes her boobs. Mitch, we're starting to develop this picture of why you're single. And in 8 weeks from now, or less, you're gonna be single again. Mitch complaining about her being in a wedding dress. Meanwhile, he's there in his tuxedo, dressed to the nines as well. So it's a problem if she does it, but totally fine if you do it. I think that is called hypocritical. Also, we didn't see Mitch going after any of his friends for wearing suits or dressing up for the wedding. You know, that none of his friends in the wedding party dressed natural to the wedding. You know, of course, he wouldn't have the same standard for a total stranger that he does for his friends. Absolutely ridiculous. And I'm quite convinced now that Mitch is more attracted to, I think her name was Ronnie or Bonnie, Krysten's mom, than he is to Krysten. And also, Mitch is straight up terrible at talking to women. At first, through the episode, I thought he was just terrible at talking to other people. But seeing him have his first sit down with Krysten and his first sit down with Krysten's mom, he very clearly has no clue how to talk to women and just makes this thing even more hilarious. This whole entire attraction storyline that we're building towards feels like it's going to end with Mitch doing something to totally push Krysten away. And that could happen as soon as next episode, in my opinion, because he's basically building up to just straight up tell her that he's not attracted to her. We don't like this guy. A lot of the guys on this, well, I shouldn't say a lot of the guys, a pair of the guys this season, we really do not like. And Mitch has gone from, maybe being an initial backseat to Nate to being the co-pilot for the season of Terrible Men. Lastly, pretty sure that the lightsabers that Krysten and Mitch walked through at the end got sent to the wrong wedding. How do the lightsabers not go to the nerdy guy at his wedding? They go to the surfer and his bougie bride. But anyways, enough with them, enough with Mitch. Let's move on to Lindy and Miguel. I'm starting to suspect that Lindy has a crush on Miguel. Lindy says Spanish is the sexiest language, and then immediately you can see Miguel just being like, oh yeah, I know. Really liked their sort of initial bond here, their connection, their attraction, but the conversations with the friends and family really started to, throw this relationship a mega curveball. I felt the conversation between Lindy and Miguel's sister was a bit inappropriate. That is some things that it should be Miguel's decision when and how he wants to share them with Lindy, and not Miguel's sister to do the first time that she meets Lindy. Like think about that, being on your first date with someone and one of your siblings shows up to basically start shelling all the dirt on you. Like that could be, in other circumstances, a relationship ender. I don't think it was in this case, but if that wasn't enough, we had Lindy's brother try to one-up Miguel's sister by immediately diving into religion and trying to stress how important it is to him that Lindy marries a man of God. And you could tell, like, Miguel, that's not his thing. He doesn't seem religious, never said he was religious. He was dancing and dodging around the answer to that question. And I really think that is also, like, that's a pretty inappropriate question for somebody to have the first time they meet one of your partners. Very much felt like a tactic of both judgment and to try to scare Miguel off if he didn't view things the same way that Lindy's brother did. Not even how Lindy feels, because, you know, there has to be some sort of, well, maybe not with this show, there has to be some sort of checklist to say, like, hey, I want to be matched with somebody who's also religious, or I want to be matched with somebody who's also this same religion. Because I feel like if that had been something extremely important to Lindy, we would have heard her say that by now. You know, her story from our point of view up to this point is that she lived a very sheltered religious life and is now moving away from that. That is the story that we were sold, not that she's extremely religious and expecting her partner to follow those same religious beliefs. That is the story that is being sold by Lindy's brother and not by Lindy. I really enjoyed seeing Mitch and Miguel have that little bathroom chat. Felt like that was just kind of like a, yeah, sure, it was totally set up, but it was a nice little moment, a little interrupt in that wedding to see those two who are sharing this journey, you know, just be able to like swap some notes for a couple seconds and then go back to the wedding. One last note for Lindy and Miguel, and that is, if your sister ever gets married, please, please, please don't catch the garter. All right, let's move on to Stacia and Nate. Anyone else getting the vibe that there's going to be an issue with Megan at some point this season? You could immediately tell through that conversation between Megan, Stacia, and Nate that Stacia wasn't too happy with, you know, maybe how Nate and his female friends conduct themselves. She was already getting a little bit defensive. I think she even threw out like, oh, maybe you're not gonna be able to do those game nights anymore because you need to focus on me. I just feel like there's going to be something else this season with Nate's friend Megan. Nate pretty much said that he'd already be checked out if he wasn't attracted to Stacia. Nate, we've said it before, he's a pig. You know, we saw him on the bachelor party. He is a pig. And I don't think that's going to change overnight. You can't just wake up one morning, make the decision, yep, I'm ready to get married, and magically be ready to get married. He is not on Stacia's level. You know, I feel bad for Stacia being stuck with Nate. You know, wish that she would have got, you know, maybe somebody more like Miguel or Binh that would have been, you know, more on her level, and not just some guy selling fake handbags and pretending like he's the Wolf of Wall Street. Lastly, because we're not going to do Morgan and Binh this week, is Alexis and Justin. We had that moment between Justin's brother and Justin where they were standing leaning against the bar, and it was like a perfect parallel to that conversation, or maybe less of a conversation, more of a fight that they had on the bachelor party. And like for a split second when they first had that camera shot of those two, I thought that maybe we were going to get round 2 of that fight. But thankfully, Justin's brother has really changed his tune and is now fully embracing his brother and the decision that his brother has made. Alexis didn't really respond well to hearing that Justin is sensitive. I thought that was pretty interesting. You know, they seem like they've been building on this connection all through their wedding, And there's that one comment that somebody who's not Alexis or Justin makes that maybe raised some question marks or potentially even red flags for one of the main individuals, and I just don't like that. Like, let her find out that Justin's sensitive. Like, it's not gonna take very long. Like, she doesn't need that warning beforehand, and on top of it, it's not something that should be a deal breaker for anyone. Like, oh, you show emotions? Nope. Nope, not in my world. I'm not down with anyone ever showing emotions. But after that, it was good to hear Alexis saying that she was feeling silly for not being attracted to Justin right away, and that she felt significantly different by the end of the wedding than she did initially after walking down the aisle. Alexis, just a little word of advice. Please don't block your husband. You know, let's not even limit this to Alexis. Please don't block your husband if you get mad at him. You know, it's okay to maybe give him the cold shoulder while you cool down over a topic, but communication is going to be so important for any issues that you have in your marriage. Everyone knows that. That should just be common sense at this point, and blocking that communication is not a good move to make. Justin, next time you hike your wife's dress up, don't hike your wife's dress up so far that everyone can see the garter and everything else that lays beneath the wedding dress. The idea is that you're supposed to put your head under. Like, I understand you're 6'8", but just get down a little lower, put your head in there. If you can't do that, just reach in and pull the garter off, especially when it's a total stranger. You know, maybe Alexis's mom was onto something, saying that she should push that garter down to her ankle so that he doesn't have to go in that deep. So, at the end of this episode, you know, it really looked like Justin was ready to release a year and a half of stress on that wedding night, and just wanted to know, anybody out there want to place bets on which couple is going to be the first to have sex after the end of that episode? I think I know who I'm betting on, and we'll see if that comes true. So that's it. We are done for episode 3. Likely I'll be late next week for episode 4. I will put something up as soon as I can. You know, if I am able to watch, I might just record something on my cell phone and throw it up for everybody. But yeah, that is going to be it for this week. So as always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for commenting. And until next time, we'll see you later.